So tonight we're going to do our first official Craftinista Sundays meeting. I'm very excited. We're going to do a pretty simple project tonight, which are these custom tiles, which you can personalize with your own colors. This is me and my sisters, all of our nicknames. And so this is what I'm going to show you tonight. So this is actually going to be recorded and it'll be posted to my YouTube channel later tonight. So if you have any questions or anything that you'd like for me to answer, I'll go back once I go over everything and then make sure that I respond to all of your questions. So we'll get started by sharing what materials you're going to need. So first off, you will need the tile. That's like a given, right? So let's see. So you're going to need the tile, and there's different kinds of tiles. So I got mine from Lowe's, but you can get yours from anywhere. So I have this kind, and it was like $1 from Lowe's, but you can get it from any home improvement store, like Home Depot or something. And it's usually like near the back, which is where I got this one. You could also get a smaller one like this. Some people like to use this kind with like smaller designs and things like that. So you can use this one or this one. It's totally up to you. But depending on what size you use, I do recommend also having a measuring tape. I also sew, so this is the measuring tape that I use for other projects as well. You're also going to need 2 colors of what's called 651 vinyl, and it looks like this. This is another reason why you don't want to go get your vinyl from the craft store, because they don't typically have sheets that are long enough for this tile. The size that I'm working with today, which is this one, it's about 16 inches. And so you'll need some vinyl that's about that size. This vinyl I got from Brilliant Vinyl, and I'm going to show you the link. So if you're interested in shopping with them, you can do that as well. But you'll need 2 colors of 651 vinyl, at least 16 inches long. And then you're also going to need some contact paper, which I got mine from Amazon. This is the Duck brand, and yeah, so it lasts pretty long, and then you can reuse it as well. You're going to also need scissors and some weeding tools. The 2 tools that we're going to use most today is this little dental pick thing, and we're also going to use this scraper. And I cut everything with my cutter machine. I have a Cricut Explore Air, and so in addition to the cutter machine, I also used a longer cutting mat. This is a 24-inch mat. So just keep in mind you're going to need that as well. Now there are some optional embellishments and trims that you can add, which I'm going to do tonight. So I'm going to use these flowers. They are the Recollections brand from Michaels. And they came in a pack of 3, but we used one of them when we were decorating pumpkins. So yeah, so we have these, and then also some twine, which you can use different kinds. So you can use like baker's twine, which I got this from Target, I believe, from the $1 spot at Target. You could also use some rope, which is, I got this from Michaels. You could use just any kind of trim. So I got this from Target in their $1 spot. It's sequin trim. Or you can use some of the trim that I used last week, which I also got from Michaels, which is this, and this is what I'm going to use today. All right. And I think, oh, and then to clean it, as always, you want to clean it with alcohol and the little lint-free pad before you get started. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all how I made my project. So here we go. All right, so I used my Cricut for this. I'm gonna move this out of the way. So what I did was I first installed Design Space, and when I did that, hold on one second. All right, so when I did that, I installed my Design Space, but then I also downloaded the font. The font that I'm going to use today is called MF I Love Glitter. and it comes with these little illustrations and everything already. So I didn't have to create them. All of this is just really in the font. And then I want to show y'all the instructions that came with the font, so that way you'll also know how to use it. So it came with the instructions on how to use the font, and then it tells you how you can make the different swashes and embellishments. And so these are just the instructions. So it's from Misty Fonts, and it's free for your personal use. And so in order to create the heart, you need to type an asterisk. You can use the vertical bar to do the solid heart, which is what you see in between John and Anna. The underscore is for the open heart, which is what you see in between the I, the love, and the U. And then you type the open and the closed brackets in order to add the ending little swashes that you see there. All right, and then to install it and in Design Space, all you have to do is download it, install it on your computer, and then if you have Design Space open, you just close it, and then once you reopen it, it should automatically install. And so as far as the design size, for this one, I have a key that I want to show y'all. So I have different sizes. So there's one size that doesn't have any embellishments, and that size is here. So if you're not going to have any embellishments on a 16-inch wide tile, then you can make the word at least 15 inches wide. And then the maximum height that I noticed for it to be comfortably on your tile is 3.1 inches. So anything above that, maybe you can go to 3.2, just a little bit higher, but anything above that doesn't necessarily fit comfortably on the tile that I'm using today. So the maximum height, no matter what width you choose, is 3.1. And then thank you all for joining. For anyone that's just joining, we're just going over the size of the design. I've already shared the materials, which is essentially the tile, the vinyl, and any embellishments that you choose to use. And then we're just going over the design size, and the font that I'm using is called MF I Love Glitter, which I got from thefont.com. And so the size of the design that I'm going to use today, I'm going to add embellishments. And so I'm going to use the blue as my guide for creating my design. So this is the final design that I'm going to make today. It's going to be a gift for my younger cousin and her husband and their daughter. And so in order to make this, I want to walk y'all through what I did. So we'll start that now. So essentially what I did was I first copied this because I already knew that this was the size that I was going to use. And this is in the Cricut Sans font in bold. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this blue design here. Since I already know that's the type of word that I want. And I do recommend having using a bold font for this project. And then I typed it in all caps. And then you keep it in bold. And so here the design is going to be 13 inches wide. And so this is about 13.1, which is fine, but I do want to make it a little bit taller. So to do that, one second. I'm gonna hide some of these so you all can actually just focus on what I'm talking about. So to make it a little bit taller in Design Space without making it wider, what you do is you just click on this lock icon until it looks like an unlocked lock. And then you go up to the top where it says size here, and you'll see there's a corresponding unlocked icon. This stands for the lock proportions function. And so what you're going to do is you're going to unlock it, and then I'm just going to adjust the height from 3.0 to 3.1. just to make it a little bit taller. And then that's it. So the total design size is going to be 13.1 inches wide and then 3.1 inches tall. Now here is the fun part, creating the names. So to create the names, you would insert text. And then once your text box appears, then you would start to type your name. So I'm going to type their names, which is Mike, capital M. Oh, my caps lock is on. So capital M, and then, well, I'm actually going to start with the swirl, so, or swash. So to do that, I'm going to type in the open bracket, which is the one on the left, and you'll see the swash, and then capital M in his name. And then I'm going to do an open heart for this one, so I'm going to do the underscore, and then my cousin's name, and then another underscore, and then their daughter's name. And then to close it out, I'm going to type the bracket that's on the right side. And then you'll see that the swash shows up like that. And then to connect the words, because it's in Design Space, the letters do not, even when it's a script font, the letters do not automatically connect. And so what I'm going to do, and it's in bold now, so I actually want this to be regular so that you can actually read it a little bit better. And since I'm not going to be using the sisters part, I'm just going to hide that design. That's just what I use as my guide each time that I do this. And so what I'm going to do now in order to connect everything, since you could do this in one of two ways. You could eliminate the space up here, which will make everything go a little bit closer together, but then you also risk that eventually it's going to overlap. So what I like to do is I'll start by getting it as close as possible just by eliminating the letter spacing. And then that's it. Now what you could do, another option for this, is you could click on the advanced option, which is here. It has the letter E and the lowercase I. You could click on advanced, and then you could ungroup to letters as well when you're doing a script font in Design Space. And that's what would also allow you to connect the letters when you're doing a script. So anytime you have a script font, which is like old school cursive, the way that you connect it in Design Space is you would eliminate the letter space, or you would just ungroup it to letters, move it closer together, and I'll just show you all a quick example of what I mean. So if you had another type of cursive font, what you would do is you would click on Advanced, ungroup to letters, so that way you can move each part of the design individually. So as you can see, like now I can move the heart. And then what I would do is once I moved everything where I wanted it, then, which I see the S has a little piece, I would move everything where I wanted it to be. And then I would select it all over again like this. And then once I selected everything, then I would go down to the taskbar where it has the layers and your color sync. And over here, the function you're going to choose is to weld it. Now for these types of designs that have open letters like A's, E's, O's, D's, and things like that, you want to make sure if you choose to use this method that you do not overlap the letters, because what could happen is then the letters will automatically fill in if you've overlapped them. So like you could see here, my E's have overlapped, and so now they're showing up filled in. So that's an easy fix. I can just press undo and then move the letters back away from each other so that they no longer connect. Now for this method, what I like to do, because it makes it a little bit easier, is I'll just do one name at a time. So that way I can, it's easier for me to recognize where I may have gone wrong with connecting the letters. So that's just another way that you can do it, but you could, I mean, it's just a little bit easier to just take it and eliminate the letter spacing, especially if you're a beginner. It's just a little bit easier to do it that way. All right, and so what we're going to do now is change the letters of the mats so that they're not cutting at the same time on the same mat. And so for theirs, I'm going to do Vincent in red. And so to change the color of the mat, which that's really all you're doing, you can really use any color mat. This is just a guide so that you know what color mat to put on, especially if you're doing multiple cuts. This is just a guide so you'll know what color mat you want to put on for the vinyl. So when it comes up and you're on the cut and you're like, I don't know which one I'm supposed to put right now, this is a really good option for you to make sure that you're getting all your colors and cuts and you're keeping everything organized. All right, and so I'm going to do it because our favorite color is red. And so I'm going to do Vincent in red, and I'm going to do their names in white. And so you would just take it to your mat, and then since I'm not going to actually cut this, I'm just gonna delete it. And then this is just my little key here, so I know what sizes to cut it. So I'm just gonna hide that. And when you hide something, it just makes sure that it doesn't cut it. And then one of the ways you can double check is to check your color sync. And this will tell you the the colors that are actually going to cut when you cut it. So I still have me and my sister's names here, so I'm going to hide that. Check my color sync again. Now I only have the 2 colors. So this means this is the 2 colors that are actually going to cut. All right, and then to make the project, you click on Make It. And then this will take you to your setup. My machine is actually not connected right now since I'm in my little crafting studio. So, but this is just, it gives you a warning which tells you that because of the size of your project that you do need a larger mat, which I showed you before. I have the 24-inch mat, which works perfectly for this. There's no need to mirror this. You usually mirror stuff if you're doing t-shirts, or in the cases where you're doing like a cutting board where you need it to be on the opposite side from where you're posting it, then that would be a great option for mirroring. But for tonight's project, you don't need to mirror. So you just set it up, put it to your machine, and then you press continue, and then you'll go ahead and cut it. So now I want to show you all, since this part of the project is pretty much complete, now we'll go ahead with the assembly part of tonight's project. All right, so here's my face. All right, so let me see. All right, so this is what it looks like before I weed it, and I wanted to show y'all because I didn't want to jump too far ahead. So I've already cut it out, and it looks like this. And so what I will do is I will just cut up the vinyl, and you don't need to have a brand new piece. Like, this is obviously a piece because I made these for Christmas presents last year, but they got married after Christmas, so I didn't get to make them one. And so what you would do is you just cut off the part of their name, which you can kind of see it in the reflection. So that's their last name, and then on the white we have their first names. And by the way, this project is so adorable. Like, everyone I made it for last year, people were trying to pay me for this, and I was like, this is not for sale, and I don't want to make no more because I made so much. So I was like, nope, I just don't want to make no more. Turning down all that good money. All right, so now you're going to do the fun part, which is weeding. Now, to weed, I typically use this little pick. This is one of my favorite tools. It's by Cricut. It's by Cricut, but you could actually use like a dental tool because that's really what it looks like. So you could actually use just a little dental tool. And then to weed it, you just take up the vinyl. And if you, your cutting settings, it should have been cut on the vinyl setting, by the way. So if you had your cutter settings right, then it should weed pretty easily. This one is pretty thin, so I do like to take my time with weeding it. And you also want to pay special attention to things like the dot over the eyes and things like that, just to make sure that you don't weed it away. And so I like to weed the biggest parts of the design first, and then I'll go back and take the little pieces out, like the parts in between the eyes and things like that, just to make sure I get everything. And I picked up the dot over the eye, so I need to go back and lay that down. All right, and then, so you're just taking off the part that you're not going to keep. I don't know if y'all can see that because it's white. So you're taking off the part that you're not going to keep, and then you're going to leave the parts of their name that you want to keep. And this stuff is really sticky, so be careful. Try not to let it touch itself because it is really sticky, and that's one of the ways you can easily ruin the design. And 651 is fairly inexpensive, but you still don't want to be wasteful. And so now I'm going to take out the extra parts of the design, like the K in Mike, the little piece in the E, the middle of the heart, and things like that. So then once you start to weed these, and it gets easier with time. Like I remember the first time I was weeding, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to take my time. But now I move a little bit faster, which it just comes with practice. So if you're still a slow weeder, don't worry. If you're still a slow roller, don't worry. It gets a lot easier with practice, and once you build up your confidence, it gets that much easier. And so I'm just going to weed out the little pieces in their names, and then that's going to be the easy part. And then while you're doing this, if you're not sure what parts to take out, you could always go back to your design so you can look at it, because sometimes it's not always easy to know which parts of the letter you're going to keep and which parts to take away. So when I first started, I would just look at the letters to see, like, okay, what part of the letter has a transparent part to it, and that's how I would know which part of the letter I had to take out. So especially with these more intricate cuts, it's not always so easy to see the parts that you need to take out and the part that you need to keep. So it's always easy if you have like a little reference point. And then this is it. So this is their names. Hope y'all can see it. So I weeded all parts of their name, or their first names, and then since I use this is why I recommend using a big block letter for the last name. One, because it's easy to weed, and two, because it looks better if there's a big contrast between the two fonts. So, and then this weeds a whole lot easier than the script. Like I could literally just pull that off real reckless if I wanted to, but I'm too scared I'm gonna mess up. So I don't want no problems with this vinyl today. I'm taking my time, doing it a little bit slower, but I can really knock one of these out within like 20 minutes. So then this is their name. And so what you would do, this 651 is essentially just a really big sticker. And so what you want to do is, in order to lift the sticker from what's called the backing, which is this blue part here, in order to lift it, you need this. And so what I do next is I take a piece of this and I measure it against the vinyl so I know I'm cutting the right size. And then I just cut out a strip. And I just realized y'all cannot see me. Hold on. Let me clear out this space here so y'all can actually see what I'm doing. Or hopefully y'all can see what I'm doing. All right. And I'm actually gonna plug in my hot glue gun while I'm at it. All right. Okay, so what you need to do now, I'm gonna move this trim. So what you need to do at this point, let's move this too. is to measure out your transfer tape, so then you can use your transfer tape to lift it, and it usually does curl. So I'll just take something just to hold it in place. And then so I can cut it more easily. So now we should have a long enough piece. And I do keep this curled up in my storage, so that's why you see it's like it keeps curling up on me, but that's okay, it still works. That's what really matters. And this is where having the scraper will come in handy, because the way that I lift this is I will use my scraper to keep it flat. So where did I put the scraper? It must be falling somewhere. Oh Lord, y'all, I lost the scraper. Hold on. Where did I put it? This is live TV, folks. As I was just talking all this trash about needing it, and just that fast, I don't know where I put it. Oh well, let me see if I can work with something else. How many places could it have gone though, right? It really grew legs just that fast. Let me see. Where did I put it? If anybody saw where I put it, let me know, because I don't see it. I thought I put it inside here. Hold on. All right, it's not inside there. Is it there? Nope, not there. All right, well, we'll just keep on pushing then. All right, so what I do here at this point, I'm gonna improvise, because I do need something with pressure to attach this to. So what I do is I take the little piece of transfer tape and I just start a little piece so that I can separate the transfer tape from the backing. And as you can see, like, it's two pieces. So this is the transfer tape, this is the backing. So the clear part is the tape itself, and then you're going to remove it from the backing. But what I like to do, because it makes my life a whole lot easier, is I like to, as I'm peeling away the transfer tape, I like to stick it to the vinyl. So I'll put it edge to edge. So as I'm peeling away the backing on the transfer tape, and I'm just gonna use a paintbrush for now since I've really misplaced my scraper. Watch when this video is over. Watch I find it. Watch. All right, so I'll just use this paintbrush just to rub it to keep the air bubbles out. And then I roll it. And it's a little bit too short, but that's okay. All right, so this is what it looks like once you attach it to the transfer tape. I'll clear this up, clean this up. Get some of this stuff out of my way. And then the next step, I'll take some alcohol with my alcohol pad, just because sometimes there's some dust on here that you can't always see. And that dust is what will create little bubbles on your design. And so I'll clean it with some alcohol and just let it dry real quick. If you're really impatient, you can just take like a craft dryer, like a blow dryer, and let it dry. But see, there, you couldn't really see the dirt with your naked eye, but these tiles have been sitting in Lowe's for I don't know how long. So I do like to just clean them off a little bit. So now here comes the assembly. So the first thing I'll assemble is their name, the last name. Duh, we know we're using their names, right? So I'll assemble their last name, and then to do that, I just peel off the transfer tape so that I'm separating the vinyl from the vinyl backing. So essentially the same process, but I'm now picking up the vinyl from the backing, and I'm just going to use it just like a sticker. So this is essentially all it is. It's like a very, very strong sticker that won't come off unless you pick at it. And so the tricky part here is to get it centered. So if you're really, 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 really determined to get it centered, you can use your measuring tape just to measure from end to end. But I'm not going to do that because this is made with love, and if it's imperfect, that just makes it all the more better. And so I'm going to just lay it down here. And like I said, if you're really nervous, you can just measure it. Just take your measuring tape to figure out, oh, drop my scissors. You can just tape your measuring tape just to figure out, you know, how many inches is left on this side, how many inches is left on that side, and then you can just do it that way if you're super nervous and you're like a super perfectionist. I used to be that way until I got more comfortable, and then I just said, even if it's imperfect, it's still going to be perfect. And so what you want to do at this point is you want to rub it. Usually I would use my scraper for this, but as y'all know, my scraper has grown legs, and it has said I do not want to be on TV, so we're not going to worry about it. So I scrape it down just to make sure that there's no air bubbles in it. And if you've cleaned it and you've laid it down pretty tight, you shouldn't really have many air bubbles. The air bubbles usually come if you don't lay it down tight enough and if you haven't cleaned your surface. But then this is it. So then the next step is you'll just peel up the transfer tape. And I peel it pretty slow just because it's annoying if it comes up with your transfer tape and then your project ends up a little crooked. So yeah, that's it. And now you have the name on. So before I stick this, I'm going to reuse this tape for their first names. So I'm going to stick this like this. But this is what their name looks like. Yep, this is it. I love the red. It's like so vibrant, and I like that it's her favorite color because red is easy to find. People kind of shy away from red. It's a bold color. People don't really gravitate towards it as much anymore, and so I do like red. My favorite color is purple though. And I'm using this old furniture sale paper to to cover my table because I love crafting, but I'm not trying to buy a new table just because I want to use a hot glue gun. All right, so same process. You lift up their name. This one's a little bit short, but that's okay because I can just lay it down exactly like this. And I picked up some lint along the way. I'm going to take this down. So this is their names. Oh, it looks so pretty. All right, so double check that there's no mess on the tile. And then I'm just going to try to lay it down as centered as possible, but I'm going to add some embellishments on the end. So it doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle. I'm gonna try to lay it as straight as possible. If it ends up being like a little bit on a slant, that's okay. The font is script, so most people don't mind. And I'm not selling these, so I don't stress about making them super perfect. I have seen people sell them for as much as like 40 bucks, which you can make a really good profit even if you only sell it for like $19, because the tile is like $1 and then you get the vinyl for like $3 a sheet, and then it might take you maybe 20 minutes to do it. And so I'm gonna press these down again just to make sure that the letters are sticking. And this is it. So once you do this part, this is actually the most part of the work. You could always customize it to add more. And so give me 1 second because these letters don't want to cooperate today. All right, so we got the hard part out of the way, and I'm just gonna throw the transfer sheet. I'm gonna trash that because I'm not gonna need it anymore. But this is how it ends up looking with their names. And then what I like to do is just embellish it. So if you watched my video last week, you saw that I had some twine that I used for my ornaments. And so I'm going to use that same twine today. And I'm just gonna take it and really just wrap it around. I just realized sorry, dropped the remote. So I'm really just going to take it and just wrap it around. What I do like to do just to secure it in the first place is I like to take it and put just a little dot of hot glue on the back, just to make sure that it's not like moving around as I'm trying to wrap it. So I'll take it and I'll just wrap it a few times. It doesn't need to be completely covered, but I'll take it and wrap it around maybe 3, maybe 4 times. Just to get it. This ribbon is pretty thick, so I don't need to wrap it that many times. But the ribbon that I used for my sister's plates, that's too long. The ribbon that I used for my sister's plates, I actually got that from Dollar Tree, and it was in the auto section, and they came in like a set of 3. So it was like a tan color and a green cup, 2 tan and 1 green. And it was just right there in Dollar Tree. So you really could get a whole bunch of it for $1. Now I like to shop after the holidays to get my holiday stuff. So I got all this ribbon for like 90% off last year at Michael's. So this is what one side will look like. And then I'm going to do the other side, same process. Flip it over, secure the first little bit. Oh, this little thing wants to meet the table. All right, so we're gonna secure it just a little bit with some glue. And you can remove the tag. I kept it on because I wanted to be able to tell people which one to find, because when I saw someone do this project before, I was like, I don't go in the home improvement store, so I don't even know anything about tile. I don't even know like where to start or even what to ask. And y'all know, men, they see a woman in the home improvement store and they start to act like they can't think straight. So if you can't tell them what you need or what you want, then it just becomes like the blind leading the blind. So I kept the sticker on just because I wanted to be able to tell people which tile they needed to buy, but you can just take the sticker off and it comes right off. So you don't have to leave that on. No, it's not a price tag, so it's not like people will be able to know. I guess if they Googled it, they could, but anybody who does that, they have too much time on their hands anyway. All right, so that's it for adding the yarn. And then I got these little display easels. What is it called? Display easels from the Dollar Tree. And I'd like to give this with it. So it comes in black and gold and silver. And I like to give it to them with that. You could add like a little backing on the back so it hangs, but this is pretty heavy, so I wouldn't recommend trying to hang this, but just to add one more little piece, I'm going to clip the back of this because it has these little silver pieces on the back. So I'm going to clip this. Oh, it flew across the room. So I'm going to clip this off And then I'm going to just glue this to the very top of the tile. And then that's it. I hope y'all can see this. You move my little, me and my hot glue gun have been through some things, honey. So she looked like it too. But yeah, this is it. This is the tile. So you can do it like this. Your color combinations are really endless. I really like this. This matches my bedroom. My bedroom is Tiffany blue and pink. So you can do it like that. You can add some soft flowers. Like these are fabric flowers. So you can see they move a little bit more. This twine is the one that I got from Dollar Tree. I also got this easel from Dollar Tree. It comes in 2 sizes. You could also get a plastic one, and that works just as well. But I like these because they're more, they're less obvious and more discreet. And so they really show off the tile beautifully. So you could really give these as some really nice gifts for Christmas, or you can make them for your own family. I know people love to have personalized gifts and one-of-a-kind gifts, but as you can see, it doesn't really take that long. And the cost is really low. You could do these for less than $3 a piece. They make great gifts for teachers, for students, for your kids, for anyone in your family. So yeah, that's it for the tile. So I want to thank y'all for joining me. Oh my gosh, I love these. Look at this. This is so pretty, right? And I made my sisters these last year, but my mom ended up wanting mine, so I gave it away. So I'm going to keep this one. And then this is the one that I made tonight. This is so cute. Farrah, if you're watching this, this is your Christmas gift. So this is it. It's a little crooked, but it's okay. They're going to love it anyway. That's it. So thank y'all for joining me. This will be posted to my YouTube, Keisha the Craftinista, within 24 hours. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also join my Facebook group, Crafters Plus Creators at Facebook. And you can follow me on Instagram, Keisha the Craftinista. So thank you all for joining me. I appreciate you watching. Be sure to post your projects on social media with the hashtag Craftinista Sundays. So thank y'all for joining me, and I hope you have a great night. Oh wait, I have some questions in the chat. Hold on. All right, Jacqueline says she's gonna try it. Will it work with planks of wood? Actually, yes. So it will work with wood as well. So you can do the same process with vinyl, or you can just stencil it, which means that you would reverse weed it, which means instead of taking out this part of the design, like the Vincent, you would take this part out and keep the part that we took away. So you would reverse weed it, and then you can use it to paint. You can use it as a stencil or something like that. But yeah, you could definitely do this with wood as well. So to keep mine straight, by the way, I usually stand. My eyes work better if I'm standing. So it's a little tricky because I try to do it sitting down, and I can't really get a good shot when I'm sitting. So these are the tile once again, so y'all can see them. Oh my gosh, these are so cute. Y'all are gonna love making these. They're so easy and they make great gifts. But yeah, that's it. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you have a great evening. That's it. Bye.